Blog Talk Radio.
Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. This is the 90-Degree Show brought to you by the Marching Podcast and Blog Talk Radio. I'm your official Marching Podcast announcer, David Thompson, and here's your host, the Phantom Podcaster himself, Joe Beard.
All right. Hello and welcome to the 90-Degree Show. I am Joe Beard, and I am happy to be of service for you today. Today is November 25th, 2012, 3 o'clock on the West Coast, 6 o'clock on the East Coast. Excuse me while I adjust my audio levels here. And happy Thanksgiving. We are analyzing the tape and hope people will call in and talk about their own experiences. And we would love to hear from you today, as at any other time. This is a big rivalry weekend for a lot of schools and a lot of in-state rivalries. And we would love to hear from you today if you attended any of those rivalry games. So please don't hesitate to call in at 718-664-6025. That's 718-664-6025. You can email the show, marchingpodcast@gmail.com, or tweet us at marchingpodcast. You can go to the website, www.themarchingpodcast.com, and vote on who you thought gave the better overall performance in our feature battle. And I'll post the results on our blog, the Marching Blogcast, at blog4.themarchingpodcast.com. That's blog4.themarchingpodcast.com. You'll see our results on our blog on the front page. I'm sorry, you'll see the blog itself on the front page of our website. On the left side, you'll see the Marching Blogcast. I know Troy is in the house tonight. What's going on, Troy?
What's going on, Joe? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, bro. Doing all right.
Good.
So today we are at week 13. It's pretty much the end of the year, wrapping up some of the end of the year tidings, I guess. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Troy.
Same to you, bro. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy holidays.
Yeah, man. So this weekend is an annual thing. We always talk about the Bayou Classic. This is the big time of year where one of the biggest rivalries, I would say, in all black college sports. Also, it's the most prestigious as far as the national coverage is concerned. There's always a lot of events that go around the game. It's just a really good weekend. I really advise anyone who has not attended the Bayou Classic, if they are ever able to attend. It's an unbelievable experience. So we're going to talk about the matchup this week. Let me first get the results from our voting last week of the last week's matchup was Jackson State and Alcorn State. And we just closed the voting, and wow, it was pretty close, edging out the voting. Excuse me, we have Jackson State edging out with 67% of the vote. So it was pretty close. Yeah, man, it was a lot of Alcorn nights. They didn't necessarily call in on the show, but, got some feedback on the fifth quarter, and some emailed into the show and talked about, pretty much it was a blue and white show last week. It was all those sonic boomers on there. We hope one day that, we'll get more Alcornites or just more people in general to call into the show. But, they talked about how big they were and their precision and their drill. We put it to rest, so we won't go too much more into the battle. But I think the only thing that edged it out was just the originality. Alcorn has a good band, but in true reality, it was the originality that edged Jackson State out. I mean, even the JSU looked very similar to the ASU Just the history of old band directors from Jackson State or old students from Jackson State then getting jobs at Alcorn, bringing that Jackson State feel. It was a small margin, very close. So we'll put that to rest, and we really appreciate all of the feedback that we got for last week's show. It was pretty good. It's always going to be a good talk when we talk about Jackson State Alcorn. But moving on to this week, we have in the SWAC conference the great Bayou Classic. Troy, did you get a chance to check out the game? There's also a battle of the bands. Sometimes there's a fifth quarter for this particular matchup, but there was not this year. But did you see any of the battles between the bands, Troy?
Yes, I did. I seen the game. I seen the NBC coverage of the halftime shows, and I also seen the footage on YouTube from the Battle of the Bands the previous night. And, pretty much like it's been for several years, it was a bloodbath and favorite to Southern. They really put it on Grambling this year. The field show, Grambling sounded decent on their first drill tune, which was that Whitney Houston song. It sounded okay. The trumpet section had a little juice, and after that, it just went downhill. And Southern came out on the field like SU and put it down. That's all you can say about it. Executed, sounded good, had volume, power, balance, everything. It was a bloodbath. I don't know why Grambling continues to show up to the Bayou Classic.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. I have to totally agree with you. And when you say bloodbath, I know that's it may seem graphic to folks, but I mean that is like somewhat of a word you would have to use to describe it. Let me read about Grambling right fast. Grambling State University, they have a motto where everybody is somebody. It's where everybody is somebody. Established in 1901. It is a public institution, a public historically black college running on a $4.5 million endowment. President is Dr. Frank Pogue, and they are just a shade, it says, under 5,000 students. That's 4,994 according to Wikipedia. Located in Grambling University, Grambling, Louisiana, Grambling State University, that is. They describe their campus as a rural. Colors are black and gold, and they compete in the NCAA Division I FCS, formerly the Division I AA, and they are the Tigers, competing in the Southwest Conference. Yeah, Troy, I have to agree with you. I saw the Battle of the Bands on YouTube, and that's something I kind of get excited for because it's like a stage for the bands that kind of go at it. You know what I mean?
It's a showcase, yeah.
Right, and not a lot of bands they don't get that for the particular football matchup, but you would think Grambling would get up for that particular.
I think that was them getting up. I really think that was them getting up. I mean, I think that's all they can muster up. From what I've seen earlier this season, they were a lot worse, earlier in the season. So I think this is their best. I mean,
wow.
Sad.
Because what I saw, it was just like they just didn't have too much emotion in the Battle of the Bands. The sound was a very immature sound. And not really the same sound I listened against Jackson State. Not too different, but it wasn't what I was expecting for the Battle of the Bands at the Bayou Classic 2012. You know what I'm saying? No
right.
Confident, very light and bright sounding upper brass. They tried to be cleaner. Like I thought that at times they tried to be like really, really clean and like outplay Southern, but they just didn't have the musicality, and the melody got lost in a lot of their songs sometimes.
Yep.
They had a decent volume, but like not the power per se, and you catch them trying to too hard sometimes, to play, no energy. On some songs they woke up. I thought that they tried to do a little something, but they just couldn't match Southern's energy. To them credit, they did have a guy talking in front of them, and I'm not really sure what that was about.
Yeah, I don't know if that one of the directors. I don't know what that was about either.
Yeah, and then Troy, we talked about this on an earlier show, but my pet peeve, man, they brought out somebody and started singing. I was like, if you could not get any worse. And then it was like a trio. It was like 3 girls and someone. It was unbelievable. I mean, they should have been escorted off. And then like on the halftime show, what did you check out you said that you saw the halftime show. What was your critique of the halftime show?
It was the same results. I mean, Southern definitely won the halftime battle. Grambling didn't sound too hot. Southern outplayed them on the field. They definitely out-drilled them. I thought Southern's drill was really nice. I've seen Southern drill cleaner. They had a couple of lines like in their concert formation or whatever, or weren't the straightest I've ever seen, but they did a really nice drill. And then I got to see the tight circle. I hadn't seen that in a minute from Southern, so that was good.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it a lot. And then they pulled out Cold Hearted Snake, so I was happy. They took it back old school for me, so I was geeked.
Yeah. I mean that definitely is like traditional Southern year Snake. You know what I mean? And one thing you have to credit NBC for is because they have those resources and that technology that you always get a good like full band sound out of both bands when you watch TV. Especially now with HD, it helps out a whole lot. But it sounded pretty good. One thing too, I thought about Grambling's halftime performance. Man, please stop dancing. Like, stop dancing the drill. Like what?
I feel the same way, but you can't even say that because that's them. That's what they do. They dance. That's all they do. You would think at some point they would say, okay, it's a certain time in the drill that we're going to focus on sounding good, but that's never the case. Grambling comes out 4 March 8, and then they start shucking and jiving, and then they shuck and jive for the rest of the field. So that's just who they are. I mean, it's horrible, but that's their DNA.
Yeah,
so to ask them to stop doing that, it's like asking fam to stop doing it. Well, fam, we'll leave them alone, but, you get the picture.
Right, and it was just like the girls came out, and I don't pay too much attention to the dancing girls per se, but at least give them their time to shine, and you have at least a time to stand and crank and play a good song on the field, but they out there like they're out there wilding, and I was just like, wow, it just takes away from it to me, but like you said, that's them, that's their style. Let me read something about Southern right fast. It was established in April 1st, 1880. It is a public land grant running on a $9.6 million endowment. Their chancellor is Dr. James Lawrence, and they have a president, Ronald Mason. Now, I'm not sure 100%, but is this the same Ronald Mason that was the president when we were there at Jackson State, Troy?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's surprised to see that name right there. I guess we'll double check that in the future. They have a provost as well, Dr. James Rami, Rami, R-A-M-I, excuse the pronunciation, an interim provost. They have students, 7,300 students. So, about, midway between, about halfway, about 75, maybe 7,300 students, and located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. They are an urban campus. It's a city campus, and their colors are blue and gold. And they also compete in the NCAA FCS, formerly the Division I AA. The Jaguars are competing in the SWAC. Yeah, Troy. So back to the analysis. Yeah, I totally agree with you. What did you think about Southern? You said that they had a really good circle. I totally agree. That's something that I look forward to when I see them. Let me see what else here I have about Southern. As far as the Battle of the Bands go, when I saw them, they pretty much were like super hype. Like I think the energy alone, they took Grambling out. Like they didn't even really have to play anything because I just don't think Grambling showed up. You know what I mean? Only thing that I kind of don't like, and this is like you said, like that's just Southern. But I just don't like the overblowing where the whole trumpet section look like their head's gonna explode. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well,
all that
I got a pet peeve with this is what I seen during the Battle of the Bands that kind of perturbed me about Southern was I seen a lot of guys in the trumpet section holding out for notes to not playing the full phrase. And that's one of the times that you really get to see when people are doing it because it's so up close and personal at that Battle of the Bands. They're not up in the stand somewhere. They're right there, so the cameras are right on them. I've seen a lot of guys doing it. Laying out to hit a G or something. I'm like, okay, come on, you can't do that. And I know it's an epidemic going around now, but they still don't make it right.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit last week where, it's the whole blasting, thing, that's like what's in. But yeah, definitely, and if you see it on YouTube, it's guys like right in the front, right in the middle. Like, I don't know how Southern matches, their trumpet section like in the stands or how they have the seating. But yeah, definitely. And then the guy was tall. The main guy that I saw doing it was actually tall.
So was it a light skinned guy?
Yeah, a lot of light skinned brothers cranking trucks. Yeah, but this guy was this guy was also light skinned. Yeah.
So I seen a lot of that. That kind of upset me, but
Yeah. So and then like when they coming in, like the cheeks all puffing out, the whole.
I've seen a lot of bad technique with brass players.
Yeah. So it was just too much of that. I think that it's still intimidating. Like when they have their chants where it sounds like all dudes. That's intimidating. You know what I mean?
Right.
But definitely the lack of woodwinds on their, it hurts them on some songs, but it really, really gives them, a thumbs up on other songs. I was kind of disappointed in Forever My Lady. They played Forever My Lady by Jodeci.
Yeah.
What did you think of that rendition of Forever My Lady?
I tell you, I was glad to hear the song. Wasn't the arrangement wasn't just dynamite, but it was good. It was good to hear something like that. A good old throwback. The arrangement I could have took it or left it, but it was good song selection. I'd say that much.
Yeah, definitely good song selection, but I was expecting more. Some songs like. My favorite this year, we'll bring this up talking in the future about what we thought the best of 2012 was. But, I love when they play Something in My Heart. And, that's something that you expect, where it's just like, oh, it's just crazy where, they're just going to blow you out of your seat. And I felt that they could have done that on that song because that's a dope song, but they didn't blow me away with that rendition.
But you know how that goes. A lot of times the students or feel a particular way about a song, and they, we did it when we were at Jackson State. A song that we hate, we don't play it with our full. It's not right, but that's how it is, and you know that.
Yeah, I mean, it Well, 'cause, you know, the kids now, they ain't really tripping off Jodeci, I wouldn't think. Not a lot of kids.
Right, they don't even know who Jodeci is.
Right. 718-664-6025. This is 90 Degree Show, Week 13, the Bayou Classic. You're talking with Joe and Troy. Thanks for listening. Please call in if you have any feelings about the Bayou Classic. It was a national broadcast, so a lot of people, hopefully you got it on your DVRs, or, you know, a lot of people got a chance to see it. Also, let's see here, halftime, I talked about Southern. I wasn't thrilled. I mean, we talked about Grambling, and I wasn't thrilled with, you know, their drill or dancing with their drill. They didn't show the dance routine on national TV. Southern, other than the Battle of the Bands, and they were cranking. I mean, they had mad energy for the Battle of the Bands. They were ready for it. They took the crown. And the halftime show was lo mismo, as they say in Espanol, which is the usual. It was the same, good marching. You know, they did catch them, however, from the side, and their lines were crooked. They did catch them from the side, and that's something that you don't expect from Southern, but it did happen.
Yeah. When they shot them it was an end zone shot. They shot them from end zone to end zone, and I think it was in a concert formation. You could tell because it was a long, you know, long line, and you could see it was kind of snaking over there. But
yeah, and that's something that you don't expect from the S, but it happened. It's kind of like a microcosm of the band that year. I mean, Southern's good, but it's not the S. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not one of their signature years that don't go down in history. Right.
I mean, we've seen the S be better. Also, one thing that I didn't point out really about Grambling's performance on their drill was the lack of precision. They formed something, and I'm not sure.
Spell it. I didn't know what it spelled.
Exactly. I said the same thing, but the S came through, and they formed Obama.
And it was crystal clear.
It was clear, and it made me wonder if Grambling was doing that, but we couldn't tell. I'm not really sure, because that was possibly the only thing that could. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong.
Because there was a lot of letters. I don't know. I'm going to go back home. I got it on my DVR. I'm going to try to look at it again, but I couldn't figure it out when I was watching it. I'm like, what are they spelling? But I thought it was kind of neat that Southern, you know, had, you know, being this is a nationally televised game, took that opportunity to get a president a shout out. That was kind of cool, you know, like. I know the bad people at NBC, but, you know.
I was actually just about to ask you about that, Troy. I saw some people Grambling, but people are taking a hit. Southern, some people are taking a hit for actually forming his name that way, and I guess it's for sponsors, some sponsors. You know, I guess especially the people who would not be in support of the president. Do you think that they crossed the line? Just right quick, I just speak in your mind or something. Do you think that was cool what they did?
I think it was risky. I'm not gonna say it was crossing the line. I think it was bold. And I think it was risky, but sometimes that's what it takes. So, you know, hopefully the fallout isn't too bad. You know, what I immediately said, and I was kind of joking, but said it kind of tongue-in-cheek, but was a little serious in another instance. I said, wow, this is last year the Bayou Classic is going to be on NBC after this. Because I'm like, wow, you know.
Right.
I don't know. I'm like, it was bold. It was a bold move. You know, NBC is a pretty liberal network, but that don't mean that the people that still, you know, really calling the shots had those same liberal views. So I don't know.
Right. Because, you know, that's the big part of the whole thing where a lot of the major big money people, you know, are not quote unquote for Obama. So yeah,
it's not about what NBC feels, it's about what those sponsors feel. Who sponsors that game? State Farm?
Right.
Or whoever are the big major sponsors. That's who can get mad and pull funding back from this, behind something like that.
Right, because they can get enough people to call in to say that they weren't happy of what they saw, and
exactly.
Of course,
and I'm telling you,
yeah.
what I think is going to happen going forward, nationally televised games, I think band directors are going to have to end up submitting field shows before it.
Wow, that's a really good point. That's a really good point.
I think that's what's going to happen behind that.
Yeah, I mean, because I saw it on Facebook, and I'm sure that I'll see it in some more places. But some people, of course, were not happy. But I didn't initially think that myself. I just saw, hey, they did the president's name, since he won the election. But of course, I wasn't thinking that so much because I was so immersed not only in the competition, but hey, this is the 2 or 3 hours that we get a nationally televised game.
Oh, right.
And I wasn't necessarily thinking that deep, but you make a really good point. Really, really good point, Troy, about breaking that down. We're getting somewhat close to the end. Other than the field show, and definitely we both agree that Southern, they just had more energy. They just had a better show. They're more precise. They have, tough marchers. They just kind of showed up. I then wanted to check to see if there was going to be a fifth quarter. Garrett Edgerson, he's one of our resident video people, really good guy. Another senior at Southern University, was called and talked on here before. He was telling me that Grambling left. That we had someone from the 504 area code pop in, but they popped back out. But he said that they left the competition, and that was really surprising because, you thought that, they were going to at least finish it out, or if they had something planned, but I don't know, Troy. What do you think? Do you think that they left on purpose? Do you think they had enough? What do you think, Ray?
I think they had enough, man. You can only take so much, and no matter how much, school pride you got, when you took an L, and when you took a really bad one, and they know they took a really bad one. I think they knew it coming into the game, which is why they didn't have the energy that you were talking about. They knew from the rip that they were about to, really take one. And the directors know that too. And at some point, you got to almost shield your students against further embarrassment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The directors, Lawrence Jackson of Southern, and Grambling is Dr. Larry Pennell, Dr. Edwin Thomas, Dr. Malcolm Spencer, and Mr. Charles Lacey. We have that caller call in from the 504 area code. Caller, go ahead and give us your name real quick. We only got like 90 seconds or so, but go ahead and give us your Week 13 experience.
Yeah, my fault for calling so late, Joe. I'm trying to finish these videos. This is Garrett.
What's up, Garrett? What's going on, man?
No, but I just wanted to speak about the halftime show. NBC, the bands do a run through the morning of the Bayou Classic, so they already know the show.
They knew? Okay.
Yeah, they knew about it already.
Oh, okay. Really, really good insight, man. That's why I'm glad that you called in, man. You called in, saved the day right at the end. We got 90 seconds. Still got some good shows coming up here in the future. We're going to have an end of the year, which is something I'm excited about. Best of 2012 here in December. We're also going to have a show about the Honda, recapping the Honda. But we're going to have the Marching Podcast Awards. We're really excited about that, and that should be on the December 16th show. So shift everybody on there. We really appreciate the call, Garrett. You guys go on YouTube to check out Garrett's videos. Go on Bandhead to check out all the updates. I'll see you later, Garrett. I'll be hollering at you this week, man.
All right, Joe.
All right, CB, we about to get out of here, man. You want to say something at the end right fast?
Oh, that's it, bro. It's a good week. Enjoyed the Bayou Classic. And to the east, my brother.
I heard that, man. We really appreciate it. We want to thank Troy. We want to thank Garrett. really great competition. Go to the website to vote on who you thought won the Bayou Classic. Like on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Thank you for listening. And remember, the eye is a better pupil and more willing than the ear. Advice may be misleading, but examples are always clear. See you next time.